to the Bears Baseball Network. It was a great weekend for the high school Bears. Only our high school teams played this weekend, and it was a lot of fun. I hope everybody enjoyed their Memorial Day. But let's get right into it. 18U Floyd with a very nice championship game weekend. Absolutely dominant. I believe a 15 or 18-0 win in the championship game. I mean, they were killing it all weekend long. If there's one thing we knew about this team, we knew the pitching staff was going to be dirty. And this pitching staff was amazing all weekend long. I think there's a lot of question marks in the lineup, but they were able to put some good things together. KJ, I want to throw this to you, and go ahead and pick for me. Would you like to talk about the pitching side or the hitting side of this team?
I'll talk about the pitching side, man. They just had dominant guys go out there. I mean, how AJ looked, setting the tone on the weekend. Obviously, Mac Floyd striking out a million guys. Tony Knight getting it done on the mound. Every pitcher that came in, pumped strikes, and it was a big week for their pitching staff, which we knew was going to be good.
Yeah, and Elliot Myers, who's arguably the best pitcher on this team, he also was great. He put double-digit strikeouts as well. A very nice weekend for the pitching. Bernie, this team, you look at the offense, and Rob put out several different lineups this weekend. I think he was still trying to find his guys, but the fact that he's been kind of experimenting and was still able to go 4-0 is very impressive. Bernie, what can you say about this hitting core?
Yeah, in the middle right there you have Mac Floyd, who's one of the best hitters in the Bears, in my opinion. You had guys like Rose Selby step up. Clayton Kyira, who I don't think anyone's even heard about, has stepped up. Sam Wortham, he's been there for a while, had a good weekend. AJ Silberto, he went to bat a little bit. So they just had a lot of guys step up. Tony Knight, the new guy around here, had a good weekend as well. So it's a lot of guys, guys who you might not have heard about before, but they're starting to step up here.
Yeah, absolutely. A very nice weekend for the 18U Floyd boys. Let's go ahead, and before we get into our standout performances, we got a lot of hacks from the last 2 weekends I want to show you, including some high school hacks. I'm very excited to see it. Let's get into it. Our first hacking time since high school ball. It's hacking time.
Mistakes, I see my heart cave in. I got my scars, I've been to hell and back again. Born for the blue skies, we'll survive the rain. Born for the sunrise, we'll survive the pain. We're singing, hey, you can't count us out. We've been running up against the crowd. We're singing, wait, it's not over now. We've been down, but we've never been out. Yeah, we're the dark horses. We found a way out. The city takes everything it can, but outside the crowds, I can feel my lungs again. Run for the blue skies, we'll survive the rain. For the sunrise, we'll survive the pain. We're singing, hey, you can't count us out. We've been running up against the crowd. Yeah, we're the dark horses. We're singing, wait, it's not over now. We've been rising, oh, just you watch. I'm stepping into fate. There is no time to waste. I've got that lightning inside me. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. I'm cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder I fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. Like iron from the fire, getting stronger. This is how legends are made. Above it all, untouchable, a new animal. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. I've got that lightning inside me. Oh, just you watch. This is how legends are made. I'm like a titan that's rising. Oh, just you watch. This is how legends are made.
And how about that? All those hacks from the weekend and the last 2 weekends. Very, very impressive. A ton of doubles, triples, and a couple homers in there. Very nice. Let's get into our standout performances. We've each got 4 high school standout performances on the weekend. And this week, I'll go ahead and let Bernie get things started. Bernie, give me your first standout performance of the weekend.
My first standout performance from 15U Dalton, Santiago Story, who batted 800 with a 1.9 OPS and a scoreless inning.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Ty Zazueta. We've talked about Ty for his defense. We've talked about Ty for his bat. But how about Ty on the mound? Ty Zazueta on the mound this weekend. 3 2/3 innings, 8 strikeouts with a 0 ERA. Very, very impressive from Ty Zazueta. KJ, give me your first standout performance of the weekend.
Yeah, I'll talk about Reese Payne. He closed out the championship game, going an inning and 2/3, 0 earned, 4 Ks, closed out the chip. And at the plate, he did great as well, 1,400 OPS for the weekend.
Yeah, a couple doubles from Reese as well. Bernie, your next player of the weekend.
My second player, I go to 15U Young, Hunter Booth, who batted 1,000, did not get out this weekend. Also had 3 innings pitched on the mound with 6 Ks.
I'm going to go with Rose Selby. We talked about him, the rookie on our 18U Floyd team. He went 5 for 9 at the plate. He hit leadoff in a couple of the games this weekend. Had a couple of doubles and a 1333 OPS.
I'll go to Tegan Kryler. He went 3 2/3 on the mound, 1 earned, 4 Ks, and at the plate he had a 500 average this weekend.
Bernie, your next performance.
I'll go back to 15U Dalton Burdick event, who had a very nice outing on the weekend, 3 2/3 with only 1 earned run and 4 strikeouts.
I'm going to go with Clayton Kaira, another guy, a prospect who's making his debut on the big team this weekend. 3 for 5 at the plate, also drew a walk. Altogether had a 1267 OPS for Clayton Kaira.
I'll go to A.J. Siliberto. We mentioned him earlier, dominating on the mound. He went 5 innings, 1 earned, 7 Ks, and at the plate he was good as well, 4.55 average for the weekend.
Bernie, your final standout performance of the weekend.
My final standout's also from the 18U Floyd roster. Sam Wortham batted .455 with an over 1 OPS and had a big triple mixed in there.
I'm going to go with the new guy in town, Tony Knight. This guy, his first weekend on the Bears, was very, very impressive. A .667 batting average. He hit a triple and also had 7 Ks on the mound with a 1.5 ERA in 4 2/3 innings. Tony Knight, first time you're hearing his name probably, but will not be the last. He's very, very good.
I'll go to 15U Burn. I'm going to go with Nayo Guzman. He was great at the plate with a 1,600 OPS, and on the mound he dominated. 5 innings, no earned, 3 Ks.
And finally, let's get into our standout player of the weekend. Each of us have chosen one player that we decided was the standout player of the weekend. Bernie, we'll go ahead and let you get things started here. Give me your standout player of the weekend.
Yeah, my standout player from 18U Floyd is Mac Floyd, who, on the hitting side, he batted .500, 1.22 OPS. That's the stuff that we come to expect from Mac. But on the mound, he went 5 2/3. He recorded 17 outs, 16 of which came by way of the K, with 3 walks, and 16 Ks.
Yeah, definitely the highest strikeout total of anybody this year, and maybe the highest strikeout total in a game of all time. Very impressive outing for Mac Floyd. I'm going to go with Elliot Myers, the other big arm in this rotation. 10 Ks in 5 innings, a 2.8 ERA, but also did it at the plate as well. You saw his home run on Hack and Time. It was a 12.66 OPS for Elliot, including that home run. He was very, very impressive this weekend with the bat and on the mound.
I'll go to another guy who did it all this weekend. He led his team offensively and on the bump. Andrew Engelken had a 1,700 OPS, 8 hits, 3 extra base hits, and on the mound he went 7 innings, no earned runs, and 5 Ks.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff from Andrew Engelken, and a good weekend all around. All right, let's go ahead and get into 2 players each who are breaking out in front of our eyes here in 2023. One of our big preseason segments is the breakouts. Who's going to be a breakout going into this year? If you tuned into our offseason segments, here's basically how we define a breakout. A breakout is a player who's going from one category last year to a whole new category this year. And our categories are prospect, role player, starter, star, and superstar. So the players we're talking about here, these are guys who last year were in a certain category. For example, a guy who's just a starter last year, in the middle of the order, playing most of the game. This year, maybe he's a star, maybe he's a superstar. So these are the players we're talking about here. KJ, we're going to start with you this time. Give me one of your 2 players who's breaking out in front of our eyes here in 2023.
I'll go to A.J. Siliberto. He was kind of in the role, a role player last year with the top team. And he's really broken on the scene this first week. And obviously, like we said, he was great at the plate. He played good defensively at third base. And what he did on the mound was awesome. So, what he has done on the mound is opening him up opportunities in the past. But now his offense is holding its own. And it's going to be hard to get this guy out of the lineup and to not be a starter.
Yeah, he was mature at bats all weekend long and did not come out of any of their games this weekend. So very impressive from A.J. Siliberto. Bernie, we'll go ahead and go to you next. Give me one player who's breaking out in front of our eyes here in 2023.
I will go to 12U, and I will stick with the same kind of categories here. Paxton LaPlante, who is kind of going from that last fall as the role player on the team. Definitely did not have a starting spot. And then going into this year, started off very hot at the plate. Paxton was always a guy that was going to kind of just reach out, put the ball in play. You didn't know where the power was going to come from. He can play defense everywhere. He can pitch as well. But this guy hits balls very hard. He's got a chance in some of the key spots in that 12v Floyd lineup, and he's been a mainstay this year.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff from Paxton. Definitely going from that prospect or role player role into that starting lineup and kind of breaching on that star role as well. Paxton's had a very nice season. I'm going to go with a guy who's a little bit higher end, Lucas Wilburn. He was a starter last fall, and he's breaking in past star into that superstar category where he's one of the best players in the Bears. I mean, there's no doubt he's been the best player on 13U Floyd this season, which is very impressive because 13U Floyd is one of the most talented teams in the Bears. I mean, Lucas has done it, the one thing Lucas has always had is the ability to get singles and the ability to put the ball in play. But what's taken him to the next level is really that power has developed. And this guy's been crushing the ball. He's leading the team in doubles, leading the team in singles, leading the team in hits, batting average, OPS. He's really done it all with the bat, including he's played great defense at first base and in the outfield. And he's been the ace on the mound for this team. I mean, he's done it all. He's been an absolute superstar this season. It's been really nice to see the Lucas Wilburn breakout this year. KJ, give me your second breakout right in front of our eyes here in 2023.
I'll go to Mason Geddes. He's going from prospect to starter. This is a guy who's always been a starter on the second team. He got bumped to the first team, and he looks like he definitely belongs on the top team. You know, just the way he looks out there, he looks the part, and he plays the part. He's been great in the infield. He's taking good at bats, and it's going to be hard again to knock Mason Geddes out of the starting role on the top team right now.
Yeah, if you tune into our off-season shows, I talked about Mason Geddes as a guy who is not a role player. You know, he is not going to sit the bench for the top team. He was either going to be a starter on Bell or a starter on Floyd. There was no in between for him, and started the season on Bell, ended up getting his chance on Floyd to be in the starting lineup, and he's played really, really well. You know, one thing that Rob Floyd says all the time is that the key to winning tournaments is hitting with 2 outs. And I'll tell you what, Mason Geddes has been one of our clutchest hitters. You know, if you look at the 2-out RBI stat, which I get is kind of a Mickey Mouse stat, you know, you can't really look too much into it, but Mason Geddes leads our team in 2-out RBI since he's joined the team. It's been very impressive. You know, when this guy comes up, he's typically hitting in the 4, 5, or 6 hole. He comes up a lot with 2 outs, and he's been able to come through, and it's been huge for us. Mason Geddes, very, very impressive. Bernie, give me your second player who's breaking out in front of our eyes here.
My second player here, I've talked about this guy a lot recently from my Levy squad, be Owen Lewis. I think he's breaking out kind of from either like low-tier star or very high-tier starter type of guy into a just full-blown superstar. You know, last month here, if we don't have Harrison Bladebaum on our team, Owen Lewis is our best hitter. Owen Lewis finished third place in MVP voting. Harrison Bladebaum was first. You know, last fall, Owen's just the type of guy. He's my leadoff guy, but he walked a lot. He kind of put the ball in play. You know, if you put him on the mound, he was kind of throw strikes. Not going to strike a lot of guys out, though. In the field, he make all the plays right at him. But this year, in the field, he's going to get balls. He's making really tough plays. On the mound, he's getting a lot of strikeouts. And at the plate, he's turned into a very aggressive hitter with a lot of power, especially this past month. So I think Owen Lewis, he should be recognized as one of the top names here in the Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. And a name that I feel like the general public doesn't really talk about a lot. You know, that 11U Burnsville squad, it's kind of Harrison Bladebaum and everybody else. And we talked about Bernie last fall and going into the spring. The story of 11U Burnsville was who's going to help out Harrison Bladebaum, you know, and who's going to be that guy next to him. He really has, in Harrison Bladebaum's entire Bears career, he's never really had a hitter who's been able to keep up with him. And Owen Lewis has been doing it for the last month. It's been very, very impressive to watch. I'm going to go with another guy for that 12U Floyd squad in Caden Inman. This guy for a long time has been kind of a role player. Even last year, he was a starter for a lot of the year. But for the most part, this year so far, he's been an absolute star. You know, I'll tell you what, this guy, he's kind of been known in his Bear career as liable for the superstar play, but not consistent enough to be a superstar, right? He'll come up with a big hit. He'll make a big play in the field. He'll pitch a big outing on the mound, but he was never consistent enough to kind of be in that star or superstar category. This year, Caden Inman has had a lot more superstar plays than he's kind of had boneheaded plays, you know, honestly. He's been very, very impressive. He's gotten big hits when they needed them. And the one thing I feel like Caden Inman hasn't done to this year is really back those outfielders up. I mean, this guy's had some warning track type shots at the plate, and power I didn't really know he had. I mean, the home run he hit earlier this year was a monster shot that I didn't know Caden Inman was capable of. So I've been very impressed with his progress, and he has been a star on that 12U Floyd squad that's been looking for guys, and Caden Inman has definitely cemented himself in that lineup. Let's go ahead and get into our weekend series pick'em. Last weekend, Bernie came out on top once again. I came in second with 8 points, and KJ came in third with 6. Bernie, you took home 2 first places and a second place. I had 1 first place and 2 second places. KJ, you had 1 first place and 1 second place. The singles category was won by Adam Tobias for me. The OPS category, Tegan Kreitler won for Bernie. The Ks category, Mac Floyd won for KJ. And the strike percentage category, Will Brotherton won for Bernie. No hitter had an over-the-fence home run that we picked, so nobody got any bonus points. Going into this week, our 4 categories are doubles, batting average, runs scored, and ERA. For ERA, you must pitch at least 1 inning or else you do not qualify. So those are our 4 categories. Our bonus category is any player to lead their individual team in OPS. So if you pick a player and they lead their team in OPS, they are the winner for that category. You get bonus points. All right, Bernie, you have the first pick here. Where are we going to first?
I will start with batting average.
Okay, batting average.
And as much as it sucks to use this guy because he's also a decent arm on the mound, I will take Santiago Story from 15U Dalton, who was top, I believe, 3 in the state on varsity in batting average.
Yeah, that's a great pick, and he's been continuing that in club ball as well. For me, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go with a guy who's maybe a little bit more under the radar. You know, a guy that, maybe doesn't have the star power of Santiago Story. But I'm going to go with Dom Palucci. This is a guy who's reliable, gets a ton of hits, and I think is going to have a high average this weekend for that Bell squad. KJ, your pick for batting average.
I'm going to go to that 16U Burnsville squad, and this guy led the team in average by far this weekend. I'm going to him again to do it again. It's going to be Andrew Engelken.
Pringle Man is your pick for batting average. Bernie, what category next?
Let's go to, I guess we go to doubles.
Okay, doubles. Your choice here, Bernie, for doubles.
Let me make sure I use this guy yet. Oh, gosh, I did use him. Okay, well, I followed my plan here a little bit.
Starting to get into June, Bernie. We've all used a ton of guys.
I got so many names in front of
I
me.
know, a lot of guys. We've already been used. Getting tough.
Okay, for doubles here, I've not used this guy yet. Okay. Let me go to 12U Floyd, and I will take Nafri Kabarkis.
Ooh. Nifri Kabarkis, one of the top hitters in the Bears. That's a great pick. I'm going to go with a guy that we talked about earlier in our standout performances, a guy who has been very impressive, and I think will keep it rolling this week. Give me Rose Selby, who hit 2 doubles this week, and I think he's going to keep it rolling.
I'm going to stay on that same team, and I'm even going to stay in that same outfield, and I'm going to one of the strongest guys in the Bears. Give me Sam Wortham.
Very nice pick, KJ. He's looked very good in the cage and had a nice triple this weekend. Bernie, runs or ERA? Where are we going to next?
I was going to pick Andrew Engelken for ERA, but then he took him from me. So we can go to ERA.
ERA. All right, Bernie, go ahead. No.
For ERA, let me go to... No. Let me go to... I will go to my 16U squad, though, and let me pick up Rocky Tucker Jr.
Definitely one of the top arms in our high school Bears. I think that's a good pick, Bernie. For me, it's a tricky one, man, because you never know who's gonna pitch week in and week out. You know, part of me wants to take maybe a reliever and play on the 1 inning pitch, scoreless type thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and go the other direction. I'm gonna go with a guy who's been the top pitcher in the Bears at times, and I think he's gonna keep it rolling this weekend. Give me Tegan Kreitler. KJ, your choice here for ERA.
I've been saving this guy for this category for a while now. I'm going to a big ace. I'm going to Jordan Waring.
Jordan Waring, one of those guys that's tough to decide if you're going to use him as a pitcher or a hitter. KJ using his Jordan Waring pick here. I think that's a great one. All right. Bernie, runs scored is the category here. Who's your choice?
Okay, so for runs scored, I'm going to go to my 11U squad here. This guy bats kind of middle to bottom, but he gets a lot of at-bats, gets on base a lot. I'm going to take Harry Bundren.
Ooh, Harry Bundren. Toward the bottom of the order. Get on for those top-of-the-order guys. I think it's a really good pick. You know, I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit of a different route here. I'm going to go with a guy who is going to play a lot of games this weekend, who's going to courtesy run a lot. So he's going to score those runs from the pitcher and catcher get on. And even if when he does bat, I think he's going to get on base, and he's very fast. Give me Cam Hall.
I was kind of thinking the same thing here. Take an 18U guy who runs the bases a lot. Give me Anthony Borghese.
Going the same route here. That courtesy runner route. That's a nice little angle there. All right, Bernie, finally our bonus category. Once again, you can use any player. It doesn't matter if you used them before. The bonus category is separate. So any player in the Bears here to lead their team in OPS.
Yeah, man, he did this past weekend. I will stick to Andrew Engelken to lead 16U Burnsville in OPS this weekend. Okay.
Bernie, nobody knows that team better than you, so it's a solid pick. I'm going to go. I had a lot of thoughts with this one. A couple different angles I wanted to take it. But let me think here. I'm going to go ahead and go. They have to lead their own team in OPS. I'm going to go ahead and go with a young stud who's going to lead his team in OPS this weekend. Give me Dylan Graham.
When I hear lead their team, and when I hear OPS, one name comes to my mind. Give me Big Harrison Blow Bomb.
That is a fantastic pick. And I'll tell you what, KJ, up until a couple weeks ago, that would have been a freebie, but Owen Lewis has been competing with him so far, but I think that's still a fantastic pick. That's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network. We've got all of our teams in action this weekend, so be sure to go out and check out some Bears baseball. Our first weekend in June as everybody chases for that June MVP. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network, and we'll talk to you all next week.